Watch every UEFA Champions League and Europa League game on the Air Sport Pack.
This is News Talk.
Welcome along. We will have Brian Driscoll here in studio talking about Ireland's Grand Slam. Paul McGinley will join us just after 8 o'clock to talk about Rory McIlroy finding his putting groove just in time for Augusta. We will have a very happy Carlow football manager on the line. And then Andy Mitten will join us on the football show to try and explain what is going on with José Mourinho at Old Trafford. And Dan McDonnell as well from Turkey, where Martin O'Neill has given some interesting thoughts in the press conference today. You are very welcome. 53106, the text number. You'll get us on Twitter at Off The Ball. As usual, we're not just on the radio, we are streaming on all our social channels, so you can see us in all our glory, including Richie McCormack. Hello, Richie.
Hello,
some clothing. There's some clothing in the studio tonight, isn't there? Hi, Joe.
He's gone for the Canadian tuxedos, Joe. He's gone for the old Brian Adams look.
Yeah.
Is that what
he's had a big week.
When you go double denim, you go Canadian tuxedo, yeah.
This isn't double denim.
Have you gone double? What have you got underneath?
Kind of a chino thing.
Chinos.
But you know what, you get away with
I like
it.
double denim.
I've heard that the viewing figures on TV3 over the weekend were mighty. And
1.3 million, they say.
Is that right?
1.3 million.
Peak audience.
Bigger than the toy show.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know what they say?
That is unbelievable.
They say most of those people were not tuning in to see us, funny enough.
Do they? You weren't saying that 10 minutes ago.
1.3 million during the match when you're not on screen.
No,
that's the key thing to remember here.
They were there for you.
Oh,
they were there for you.
I know. I'd like to thank them all.
1.3 million suffered Dave McIntyre.
So you watched it. I mean, what a strange thing when we win Grand Slams in this country. 1948, don't remember it very well, and 2009. You kind of figure Irish teams should be winning Grand Slams with last-minute dramatic blood and thunder falling over the line type scenarios. Drop goal or just like misery and pain, whereas you didn't want to jinx it or say anything, but at half-time they were 14 points up, 16 points up maybe. No team had ever come back from more than 13 in the history of the Six Nations. You were kind of sitting there at half-time thinking, Ireland have just cruised here to a Grand Slam. It's unheard of.
It was the weirdest, most brilliant anticlimax ever.
Yeah.
It really was. To watch them routinely put England away, you know, even with 14 men for those 10 minutes before half time, it just seemed like we weren't going to have a glove laid on us.
Where I was, there was absolutely no stress whatsoever.
Where did you watch it in a pub?
I watched it in a pub. But usually you get that vibe, don't you? That everyone's on edge and there was so much tension.
Someone will shout intermittently every 2 minutes, "Come on!" That for no reason,
absolutely nothing. And it was almost like cigars out. Thanks very much. We're just cruising to this. Not a bother at all. And that is the amazing work that's gone into it. You can actually see that, but that was as comfortable a performance at international level I've seen, considering what was at stake as well.
The other very striking thing about this Grand Slam is that in 2009 that felt like the summit. That was the end of the journey. Like, this amazing golden generation had done what they, you don't want to say deserved, but deserved to do. Whereas 2018, it's a huge deal still. We can't be blasé about it. But even Rob Kearney in the post-match interview did sort of mention, like, there's more in this team. There's a World Cup on the horizon. Nobody in the 2009 pitch interviews was talking about tomorrow or any day after that. It was just like, we've done it. That's the other very striking thing about this.
I heard you talking to Rory O'Connor and Keith Wood yesterday, talking about the age profile. Yeah, I did. I listened to that, Rich. It was great listen. Yeah, almost as good as TV3, but it was great stuff. No, it was. No, I was listening to it. It was funny because you were talking about that whoever missed out, whichever players were injured or they were struggling, that player stepped in, and they were almost 5 years younger, and they were basically coming from Norway. That was
11 of the 23 on Saturday were 26 or under.
I rattled off, I think it was about 12 names yesterday, maybe more, of people who weren't in the squad for whatever reason this past Saturday. And to look through those 12 names, they would go into any international side. Like, it was scary.
Sean
O'Brien, Josh van der Fleer, Jack Conan, Niall Scannell was in there. There's more going on and on through the side. And even taking into account the likes of Tyler Blandall, who become eligible in January. Like, there's more to come down the production line, down the various production lines. And it's just brilliant to see.
Ireland are now to the Six Nations what Tiger Woods was to golf in the early 2000s, says Pat. We made the championship predictable. A bit of a stroll. Actually, it's hearsay for us, heresy for us to be saying this. Hearsay.
Rory said yesterday night that this is how All Blacks fans must feel. Like, winning becomes routine. It's how Dublin football fans feel to see winning with such regularity that you almost kind of think nothing of it.
I would genuinely, of course, coming from a different sport, different background, but I'd love to see football, our sport, get off the back of this and think, well, look, we can actually do something about this. We can actually change what we're doing. Change the development and everything. It'd be great if we could, because we have clashed between the sports over the years as well. now whether that would be the GA with the football, because it does get the feel good factor around the country.
To be fair to football, slightly different.
No, it's totally different. No, it is totally different. It is totally different.
Slightly deeper talent pool.
But you know where I'm coming from? The fact is that it might just change the mindset somewhere along the line, and that's the
mindset point to take. Lads, I'm old enough to remember the bad old days of Triple Crowns being like manna from heaven in the 80s. And to be fair, I mean, the 04 one, there was like a lap of honour. Remember when they hadn't won in 19 years? It was a massive thing.
I remember those dour days of playing out, morale boosting defeats to Scotland and all that, and winning the wooden spoon with regularity.
Yeah. Craig in Limerick continues. I'll take an underappreciated Grand Slam over a celebrated second or third place, like we used to experience any day. Yeah, that's a fair point. And Brian O'Driscoll is in studio very shortly, in about 15 minutes time or so. The good news, I suppose, Richie, it's where you're starting your roundup with Air Sport. We are here as usual with our roundup, the home of Air Sport. You can get amazing live sporting content free with Air Broadband, and the good news continues for Irish rugby.
Yeah, 3 of Ireland's Grand Slam winning squad have signed new contract extensions today. Ian Henderson put pen to paper on a new deal that will keep him with Ulster until June of 2021, while captain Rory Best and fullback Rob Kearney have also signed new deals that run until the end of next year's World Cup. One setback from that Ireland Grand Slam win will be felt most keenly by Munster. Keith Earls facing a lengthy spell on the sidelines after suffering what's said to be a knee ligament injury during the 24-15 win over England at Twickenham. Munster welcome Toulon to Thomond Park in the Champions Cup quarter-finals on Easter Saturday, and they're already without the aforementioned Tyler Blandall and Duncan Williams, who've both been ruled out for the rest of the season.
I didn't even notice that during the game. It just passed me by.
Watching the pictures back afterwards, it's one of those things. You see him being helped almost from the pitch. It's kind of it looks like he's minding an injury, but ultimately these things get lost in the celebrations of a Grand Slam, unfortunately. Hi
lads, what do you make of Gus Scott's comments about Ireland not having any world-class players? I didn't see them. I actually can't believe Jeremy Guscott said that.
I was tempted to quote what Kenny Cunningham may have said about somebody else while sitting in this chair last week, but I won't. That's lunacy if that's true.
I'm just going to Google this quickly.
No, I did actually. I saw it on Twitter today. I did see it on
Ireland
Twitter.
Have no world-class players.
I think he said Ireland arguably have no world-class players, so it's a great achievement with what they've achieved through the Six Nations.
But he did say it too.
Yeah, I believe that's what he did say.
Was there a drink taken?
No, I think that was on air. I think
Ireland arguably do not have any world-class players in their Grand Slam winning squad. You could argue there are better scrum halves and fly halves than Conor Murray and Johnny Sexton.
Could you now?
Yeah, really.
Let's hear that one, Jerry.
He says he does concede, in fairness to him. Tyke Furlong is one you might argue less about. Wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, I would disagree.
I love Conor Murray. He's class, isn't he?
Can we get him on the phone?
He's class, isn't he?
We should get Jerry on here and chat about it. We wouldn't think much of those comments, Texter, I think, is the short version. I mean, you'd have Conor Murray world class. Sexton has been Lions number 10 for 2 straight tours and won everything. Tyke Furlong's the best in his position, is what everybody who understands that position says.
CJ
Well, you're a man, you understand the game, Joel. Would you say that?
I don't understand what the hell half of what Tyke Furlong's doing. But that's strange comment. His wider point is what they have are 23 players playing very well together, which you would accept, but you can have a few world class ones in there.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's Gus Scott's comments.
Good man, Jerry. Republic of Ireland manager Martin O'Neill says that Liam Kelly has turned down the opportunity to be part of the squad for this week's friendly with Turkey. The England-born Reading midfielder has informed the Irish management that he wishes to keep his international options open. Kelly has previously been named in Ireland's squads, but Reading's playoff commitments last season prevented him from playing a further part. The Ireland squad trained in Antalya today ahead of Friday's game, and Kelly informed the Irish management of his decision via the medium of text message.
Yeah, it seems O'Neill's tried to call him. This is Liam Kelly. We've talked about him a few times in the show. 22 years old. Jaap Stam, the manager there, had amazing things to say about him. Bit of a playmaker. Scored 6 goals this season for Reading. It seems O'Neill's comments were along the lines of, look, he's English born, grandparents are Irish. Keeping his options open was the general gist, and maybe a call from England comes. So let's just say for a second the call from England doesn't come and he's 22, and at 24 he figures Ireland's my best bet. Then Irish football has to decide, do you take those types back?
Yeah, there is a massive part of me, Joe, and a massive part of me that's it now. It has to be. He's made a decision. He's old enough to make that decision right now. He feels as though that he can get somewhere near the England squad, if that's what it is he feels. Given the standard he's playing at, I would suggest he's miles away from the England squad.
His age as well.
Yeah.
He's 22. If he wants to be an England midfielder, he'd want to be in the conversation for an England squad.
It's not out
as
the way.
Of 18 months ago.
You know what? I respect him for a decision. If that's his decision, that's what he wants to do. He doesn't feel Irish. And there's a big thing for me. Honestly, if you're not Irish, you shouldn't be playing for Ireland's fault. That's what I would think anyway. And I know that we've called up many a lad over the years that wouldn't necessarily feel Irish, so fair enough, that's fine. But in general, this has to be. Martin O'Neill cannot face any criticism for this whatsoever. I'd back him to the hilt with the Grealish issue. I'd back him to the hilt with Liam Kelly. Now with what he's come out and said, Liam Kelly doesn't want to play. Martin O'Neill can do no more. He's tried to have the conversation with him. He says no. He replied by text. That's weak.
Bit disrespectful.
As far as I'm concerned, that's weak. You need to pick up the phone and be a man about it and ring and speak. Have the conversation. And say, Mr. O'Neill, Martin, however you would address him, and say, no, it's not for me, thanks very much.
A lot of the conversations before that, according to O'Neill, seem to have gone through Kelly's agent rather than Kelly himself.
Well, exactly. That's what makes it even more. I suppose it is. We're in a different age now, but there's still got to be that little. You listen to your parents, you listen to whoever it was around you. If you've got the right people, look, pick up the phone. This is bigger than just sending a text, or this is bigger than just getting your agent to respond.
Was there an emoji used in the text as well?
Yeah.
The old shrug shoulders. I don't
Thumbs
know.
down.
Keep my options open.
There might be I'm thinking.
Stroking chin.
Yeah.
Getting Kev to act out emojis on screen is going to be one of the things so far.
I'll fill 10 minutes.
Yeah. Can you do the monkey over the eyes? The hands over the eyes.
Quite weak, lads. We might get to this later on in the week.
Lenny Clark on Facebook says
it's Thursday.
Liam Kelly can go and himself. Let's hope he enjoys as good an international career as Grealish.
Can we play a game of blankety blank? Can I be Wogan? Liam Kelly can go and blank himself.
Niall
Joe Malloy.
Niall in Cork, he definitely can. Niall in Cork, I suspect this won't start positively on the rugby. Oh dear God, he says.
Give it time. Let's see how this one plays out, Joe.
Okay, he says, he does make the point, collective amnesia has struck the Irish rugby watching public once more, says Niall, who can, it seems, judge the thoughts of over 1 million people.
He's a good person as well. 1.3 million.
Ireland have peaked early ahead of the last 3 World Cups. There will be little talk of Grand Slams if we implode at the quarter-final stage in Japan. Well, it will be certainly seen as a failure for this group, but I think a Grand Slam is big enough in and of itself to define this team. 3 in our history. It's not a triple crown here we're talking about. It's not just a championship. It is a huge deal, and also you back this team 2 in the world to go beyond the quarter final. I don't know how you can say they've peaked at this. I don't know how you can say James Ryan at 21 has peaked, Stockdale at 21 has peaked, Gary Ringrose at 24
I think as well,
peaked.
honestly, and I think as well how expectations. There was so much expectations on every one of those players' shoulders through the Six Nations. But can you imagine the pressure that those players will be under when they go to the World Cup? If we go on next year to win the Six Nations again, and then the pressure going into that World Cup, honestly, it would just be.
It's a lot. They would have felt huge pressure this week.
No, exactly. I know that, but that'll be different. That will be totally different.
But ask yourself, is this squad liable to lose 43-22 in Argentina in a quarter final? Again,
it's hard to imagine.
Not at the moment, no.
They have the tour of Australia to come in June, then New Zealand in November, and then the first game of next year's Six Nations is in Dublin, and it's England. So it's
that's
a
good
fun
way to keep
time.
yourselves motivated.
Yeah, exactly. So the hurling,
and Piercy and Kula will replay their drawn All-Ireland Club hurling final in Portlaoise this coming Saturday. The game at O'Moore Park will throw in at 5:30. It'll also be played after the Division 2A Hurling League final meeting of Carlow and Westmeath. GA have confirmed their plans for the league fixtures that fell victim to the weather this past weekend. Wexford and Galway, they'll play their hurling league quarter final on Saturday at Innovate Wexford Park, where it'll be a 3 o'clock start, and Dublin's meeting with Tipperary will serve as the curtain raiser at Croke Park on Sunday with a 1 p.m. throw-in. It's Dublin's footballers against Monaghan in the later game there. The semi-finals will now be played the following week, with the final again pushed back, this time to April the 8th. Meanwhile, the round 7 football game, will go ahead as planned this coming weekend, with the outstanding Division 2 and Division 4 games to be played across Easter weekend. If final positions need determining, that will push the football final back a week as well.
That needed a bit of thought. That did. I did watch the hurling final, the club final as well. That was just class. Yeah. What a game that was as well. So yeah, I'll just put that in as well for you, Joe.
It's a mess. It shows their desperation to get everything played off, that there was the messing around with the bank holiday and the GPA. When was the last time the GPA released a statement like this?
It's been a while, to be honest.
Yeah, even they released a statement saying this wasn't on. So we will touch on that at some stage across the week, and we do have Turlough O'Brien, the Carlow manager, up from Division 4 on the show later on this hour. That will be after Brian O'Driscoll, after Paul McGinley, so around 8:45 or so. Very last story.
Yeah, we mentioned this in passing. Limerick got the better of a 65 competition yesterday evening to reach the semi-finals of the Allianz Hurling League. They eventually saw off Clare 7-6 in a shootout after the sides finished level after 100 minutes of hurling at the Gaelic grounds. Speaking on this morning's OTB AM, Daithí Regan told Ger and Owen that although a penalty shootout competition will be a better option, he has no issues with the free taking.
Yeah, I have no problem with it whatsoever. there's a myriad of different views. I have no problem with it. I think we're already running into difficulties for the month of April that's allegedly set aside. Players were cramping, players were tired. I mean, what's wrong with it? You know, someone has to win the game, and it's been a novel idea to me that the GAA have thought outside of the box and said, okay, we need to finish them. I think to physically ask them to play another 5 minutes either side, I have absolutely no problem with it. The players seem to be somewhat entertained, which amused me a little bit, because there was a really serious prize here, you know, getting to a league semi-final for both of these teams in particular. Like, it's embryonic in relation to the new management structures that's there, and I felt the win for either team was really, really critical for development. But the players seem to have quite an enjoyable time looking at it. But in effect, I don't have a problem with it. I quite enjoyed it, actually, to be honest with you.
Yeah, same. And actually, you would think from a TV point of view, there's more we can do with them. Better camera angles would add a lot. So I'd be with him there. We are wrapping up our news round for this evening. Ireland have won a third Grand Slam in history. Brian O'Driscoll will discuss next.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
In association with Air. Watch every UEFA Champions League and Europa League game on the Air Sport Pack.
News Talk Breakfast.
Our attitude to young people smoking and using e-cigarettes has to be different from whether they can be used as a smoking cessation aid. There are several American studies now